7 sales, 1 listing, all in 90 days. Tanner has the blueprint. Tune in next. We know that agents are getting into the real estate business at record highs right now. The number of real estate agents has never been higher. It's 1.55 million in the U.S. We got Tanner Huseman here, rock star agent, amazing person, and he is rocking and rolling with 7 pending sales and 1 listing taken in his first 90 days in the business with our team. So how are you doing it, Tanner? I mean, these are results people don't get years into the business. This is more than the average agent sells in a whole calendar year, and you did it in 1/4 of the time.
Well, first of all, huge, shout out to the team because there's huge support here, and that's a huge help. I'm also just making sure that I'm really listening to the clients and making sure there's clear motivation and helping them find what they're looking for in the next home and preparing them to act fast.
So acting fast, finding motivation, which to me that's like really important because if you don't work with motivated people, they can waste your time. So what are you doing to get all that information? This is where a lot of agents struggle, and they have clients they work with for months and months at a time, and you've had tremendous results in a 90-day period.
I think asking the right questions, following the scripts to make sure that you're putting your energy into clients who are ready to move right away. And then clients who maybe need a little bit more time, you're not putting as much effort into.
Well, and it's okay when people need more time. It's not a bad thing. It's just that way you're giving them what they need, not what you want. And that's the mistake a lot of agents make where their interest gets put ahead of others. So you're taking your time, you're working with them, you're listening. So what are some of the techniques you're using? You're asking the right questions, you're following the scripts. What else is happening here in these meetings? Because, again, these results are mind-blowing, and you're making it look easy because of the hard work you're putting in.
Well, it's not super easy. I am putting a lot of hours in. But I would say that it's important not to pressure the clients into, closing a deal that doesn't feel right. You have to make sure you're listening in terms of what they're looking for, how they're responding to a property. It would be a disservice to pursue, a property that doesn't really actually work for the client. So
what I'm hearing is that he's doing what's right for the client, and you're making it about the people, not the property, and you're avoiding that commission breath that a lot of agents have where they almost, the client feels pressure to buy something instead of doing it for the right reasons.
Right.
So you're taking it slow, you're asking the right questions, you're following the process. What else are you doing to advise the clients to act quick? Because that's a big challenge for a lot of people right now, especially where we were 2 years ago versus now in terms of speed to the market and speed of the market.
Of course, probably everyone knows you have to have your pre-approval beforehand. You have to prep them in terms of going over the contract to know, what they're going to be signing when the time comes that they're going to be putting in their first offer. Because, if they know in advance to sign on the right to waive or sign on the left to elect an inspection, then when
you got it right, don't worry.
When they're going through it, they're more comfortable and it's ready to submit the offer. So it's really just about making sure they're comfortable, they know what they need to do so that they can move quickly and efficiently.
What he's saying here, I know this sounds basic if you're watching this. This is the mistake agents make. All they do is they just go to the home, they open the door, and they don't explain how the process works, what's involved, what you need to do to actually buy a home in today's market. So while this all sounds basic, what I know and what Tanner's obviously learned and implementing is the basics work. If you master the basics, then you can get next level with your skills and techniques. So I love the idea of being prepared. How are you preparing for these appointments? Because being prepared to me is it's so critical in showing up and actually making the appointments count.
Yeah, I do make it a point to call the listing agent, especially if I think this home is going to work. And I get the inside scoop. So if there are certain things the seller needs in terms of settlement or terms, I try to get the inside scoop before getting on to the appointment so that I have the most information as possible. So
I hope everyone's taking notes. I mean, these are gems here that you're asking the right questions. You're not putting your interest above the client's. There's no commission breath, and you're being overly prepared. So when it does come time and maybe you only got a couple hours to make a decision, you're giving them the right information to at least make a well-informed decision. And you're putting your people in a place to win. So I love all this. So, I mean, again, we got 8 transactions on the books here once this listing hits in 90 days. Someone new that wants to get into the business, or maybe they're struggling their first couple months in. What advice do you have to these people? Because obviously you're doing really well. We're just getting started. I mean, this is just a precursor of what's to come. What advice do you have to those people that are looking for that breakthrough like you've had?
I've had a couple of conversations recently, and I definitely advise choosing your brokerage wisely and interviewing your brokerages, not letting them interview you, in terms of making sure you're picking the right group of people. If you need leads provided, make sure you're getting that with the team that you're joining, and then be prepared to do 120% right off the bat in order to get the ball rolling, because the beginning's the hardest part.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, when you talk about getting started, there's a story that like your car breaks down on the side of the road, right? And like, what do? You put your flashers on and wait for someone to help you. Yeah. It's probably not going to help. Or you open the door, put it in neutral, you start pushing the car, and those first couple steps are tough, right? But then you get some momentum, it gets easier and easier.
Yeah, and the car starts moving.
Now, some people might argue that, well, what if you're going uphill? And that's where your skills make the road malleable. So you can actually change the way the road works. That's great advice here. Getting started is the hardest thing, and once you go all in, it does get easier, and I think that's great advice for anyone out there. So, Tanner, brother, you're killing it, man. Grateful to be working with you, number one. Also grateful for all the value you brought to the show. Anything else you want to add before we wrap it?
No, just keep on keeping on.
All right. You heard it here first. Agent Hacks, Tanner Huseman. We're going to put his info if you want to reach out to him. Catch you next week.